everyone for coming out. This is a wonderful crowd. It's a beautiful venue. We're happy to be here. So before we get the program started, I want to start by acknowledging all the people who helped us get here. First, we're able to host events like these because of our supportive and committed sponsors, and I want to start by recognizing them and thanking them. We have 9 sponsors of the center. 3 of them have been with us since day one, so 31 years. Eastman and Smith, Family Enterprise USA, Fifth Third Bank, Huntington National Bank, which I hear they're having a big party for retirement party for Sharon also this evening. Highland, Raymond, Shoemaker, Skylight Financial Group, and the William Vaughn Company. So thank you to our sponsors. And again, special thanks to the Mud Hens organization for this fun venue this evening. And I must thank or recognize the late Jim and Celia Finley. Many of you who have been with the center for a long time knew Jim Finley. They established a fund within the center to support this specific event. Jim Finley was one of the founders of the center, and anyone who knew Jim knew how much he cherished family and how much he loved the center. So he established a fund to ensure that this group got together once a year to celebrate each other, to celebrate family business. And so that's what we'll do. We'll celebrate. So thank you to Jim and Celia Finley. Now, speaking of celebrating, I have to acknowledge our bar sponsors for the evening. So thank you to the Countertop Shop and to Krogan Bank for sponsoring our bar, which is still open. And extremely instrumental in making tonight happen is the amazing team that we have at the center and the university. I want to take a few moments to recognize them. Megan O'Brien, who made a lot of this happen and didn't complain when I said, hey, why don't we try doing this after the holiday this year? Oh, and by the way, I'm going to be gone for 9 days before, so you're really going to have to do all of the work. And she did, and she's so reliable, and I did not worry one bit while I was enjoying the Florida sun. So thank you, Megan, for all that you do for us. And Eva Curtis and Sally Berglund, who you saw at check-in, both work tirelessly behind the scenes, and they are willing to pick up any of the tasks, especially the tasks that we don't want to do. So we're very appreciative, and these events could not happen without you. So thank you to Eva and Sally. Rachel Stapleton, Rachel's here. God bless her. She hung out in the lobby and directed everyone to the right place. Rachel is our student intern that has been with us since the beginning of the semester. She's doing a phenomenal job, and she's killing it in the sales competitions. Thank you for all your help, Rachel. Yeah. And Nick might have had to leave. He had another engagement, but many of you know Nick. He's the president of our Entrepreneurship Innovation Student Club, and he's always at all of our events, so we really appreciate him as well. Thanks. Oh, he's here? Oh, Nick, thank you. I don't think the dean is here, but I do want to thank her. She's a tremendous supporter and advocate of the center, and also someone who was supposed to be here and couldn't attend, Maria Schmelzeride from the UT Foundation. Many of you know her. She's been an incredible supporter and advocate for our center over the last 4 years. So tomorrow marks her last day with the foundation, which we're sad about, but she's not going far. She's joining center member Jute Mode, which is a great fit for her. And I told her with this move, she'll probably get to see us more because I'm going to put her on a committee and I'm going to put her into an affinity group, and then she can come to all of our events. And so many of you who've been around for a while know that we have this endearing term. We like to keep our best people close, right? So we created this endearing term called Tobying them, right? So for those that don't know, Toby Caulfield, I know he's here. He's practically furniture in our office. I mean, he's served on just about every committee. And when his term ends, we just find him another committee to join. So, because he's just so invaluable. So Maria, I told her, welcome to the Toby Club. And Kirsten's part of that Toby Club as well, too. You know, we don't let her go too far. So Jute Mode will be a great fit for her. And importantly, thank you to all of you for your membership, your sponsorship, your gifts, your support, your advocacy, and for showing up. So you, this room, you are the Family Business Center. It's your participation and engagement that brings it to life. And we exist because of you. So thank you.
Now we'd like to take a moment to express our gratitude to all of the leaders who steer the center. If you're serving on a committee or if you're on our advisory board, would you please stand to be recognized? Our organization thrives because of your invaluable support. A special shout out to Todd Hendricks Jr. and Mike Eucley, who are concluding their board service this year. Todd, thanks for the extra year that you were certain Tobied, but both of you, thank you for your commitment and dedication. Please accept these gifts as a small token of our immense appreciation. And keep an eye on your inbox for all of our 2024 board updates. For now, we're thrilled to announce that Todd Hendricks will pass the chair baton on to Joe Shrader, and joining the board in 2024 is Nick Wasserman. His unique perspective is going to be a fantastic addition to our team.
Okay, so tonight we have an amazing lineup. We're celebrating some fantastic milestones and handing out our most coveted Scutchie Awards. So for those that have never heard of a Scutchie, I mean, I can't believe there's anyone that's never heard of a Scutchie, but back in 2017, we wanted a fun, lighthearted way to honor Debbie Scutch in her retirement while recognizing others who, like Debbie, have been supportive of the center. So think of them as our version of the Dundies from The Office, if there's any Office fans here. So they started out a bit of a laugh, like with quirky names, but people really, really, really loved these Scutchie Awards. So they've now become a fun, unique way to celebrate those who have made a real difference over the year. And they're a big institution with their center. I'm sure this is exactly how Debbie Scutch wanted to be remembered with the Scutchie Awards. But they're everyone's favorite part of the evening. But before we dive into the Scutchie Awards and our panel, I want to take a few moments to just share some of the recent achievements of the center, because we had plenty to be proud of. We had a great year. So along with the theme of milestones, we hit a membership milestone with 250 member companies, which is our highest ever. So, okay. So, and even everything that's been happening with private equity and more members than we'd like have been selling, we've still kept a strong hold with a 90% retention rate, and that's not been easy in this climate. We welcomed Family Enterprise USA to our sponsor family. They're a nonprofit group that advocates for family businesses in Washington, D.C., and thanks to them, this past May, I got to testify in front of the Family Business Caucus in D.C., which was really a highlight of my professional career. Our social media, thanks to Megan, is buzzing. We're way more visible, more vocal. We're reaching more people every day. A number that I love, we have an 85% participation rate, so most of you are active, involved, making a difference. We've been busy helping our members upskill their employees. I know you are probably all tired of hearing us talk about tech cred, but it's in the budget for 2 more years, so we'll keep talking about it. Oftentimes for free, thanks to tech cred. The application period closed today, but the next one is January, so you'll be hearing about us on that. And a warm welcome to Don Lovett, who's here. Don? Where you at? Don? Yep. Don is our new executive in residence. So he'll be working specifically with our next gen leaders, and we're really excited about a workshop that he has planned that we're going to kick off after the holidays. Many of you were at our golf outing, and not only did we have a blast, but we raised $20,000. And since September, we've been able to give $5,000 in student scholarships. We're able to send a handful of students to participate in a national PSE convention this spring. So we shone the spotlight on 3 amazing family businesses doing great things in our community. Last March, it was our first Doing Right spotlight. Certainly not the last, but we'll talk more about that later. We're working with an organization called Forum Within to take our affinity group program to the next level. They did a great event for us with new center member Stubborn Brother a month ago. I'm really excited about where that program's going. And then if you want to talk about memorable, who could forget the night with Brendan Hunt or Coach Beard? That was a really fun, unforgettable evening. So what a great year. We've done so much, and next year looks even more promising. So I can't wait to get up here in a year and tell you about all the great things that we've done in 2024.
All right, so let's move on to our Scutchy Awards. We're gonna kick it off with the All In Scutchy. This is one that we give out every year, and it's one that's very close to our hearts. It goes to a member who really embodies the support of spirit for our center in every possible way. Now, this year's recipient has not just been part of the center from the early days, but has been incredibly active, especially in these recent years. She always shows up and is always an active participant, sharing valuable insights and perspectives. We've struggled getting our attendance back after COVID, and she is the one person that we can always count on to show up, and we truly appreciate her commitment. And it's my pleasure to announce that this year's All In Scutchy goes to Colleen LaChapelle.
So now, keeping with the theme of reliability and support, we'd like to call our next Scutchy the Referral Rainmaker. So it's no secret that most of our new members join us through referrals from our current members. It's pretty common for me to get a call and say, hey, Joe says I need to join his affinity group. How do I join the center? So yes, many of our members and sponsors are phenomenal at spreading the word. But here's the interesting bit about this year's Referral Rainmaker. She isn't currently a member or a sponsor, but she was with us in the early days when she was part of a family business. So her referrals come from a deep belief in what we do, valuing her time with the center, and her genuine desire to help these companies thrive. So we want her to know just how much we appreciate her positive words and all the referrals she sent our way. So with much gratitude, the Referral Rainmaker Scutchy goes to Megan Reichert. So, thank you, Megan. I'm going to just take over Megan's part while she's taking a picture. So at our golf outing, one of the raffle prizes, the best raffle prize we think, I think Katie and Connor might disagree since they won the alcohol basket. So maybe the second best prize is you get a custom Scutchy, right? So the winner gets to name and award his or her own Scutchy. And we were really, really, really excited. He might not have been as much, but we were really excited when Nick Langendorfer with the Countertop Shop won. So Nick made the selection a family affair. So I'm going to ask them to come up, Nick, Sarah, and Melissa, to share the next Scutchy.
I'm just going to stand behind him. So I'm not sure how many of you know the Countertop Shop, but in 2024, we, the Countertop Shop, will have been in business for 20 years. In that 20 years, In that 20 years, my father, Mike, has won multiple awards across many different industries. Most recently, in October, he was inducted into our industry as FUZZ Hall of Fame. I am also sure that his multiple, I think, 3 consecutive year running scutchies are also high atop his list. But this year, we, my sister Sarah, my brother Nick, we would like to award what we are calling the Highest of High award to our mother Karen, because for years she has stood by my father and helped him get to the highest of high. And if it wasn't for her, she's gonna cry, which is gonna make me get teary-eyed. She's gonna be so angry at us for making her the center of attention today. Look at her hiding her face over there. But if it wasn't for my mom, I most definitely know that I wouldn't be here. And I'm not sure about my brother either. My sister's the smart one. She's never worked a day at the countertop shop. Though her name tag says so, she's never worked there. So we, on behalf of my sister, Sarah, and my brother Nick, we would like to award our mom the Highest of High award.
Mike, why don't you join him and take your picture over there? Yeah. Thank you. Yes, get more. We got a picture of just her elbow earlier, though. Yeah. Okay, so now, okay. So let's move into the affinity group award portion of the scutchies. The next group, or the next scutchie we're presenting is affectionately called copy and paste. So you guys all remember Kirsten, right? So before she left, she gave us a rundown on each of the 26 affinity groups. And when she mentioned one particular group, she called them her Gold Star group. They were exceptional, meeting consistently at the same location, always showing up, never needing reminders, engaged in fantastic discussion, and they were very appreciative and complimentary of their group dynamic. So over this past year, Sally and I had the pleasure of working with them, and we can confirm they truly are a Gold Star group. They're a perfect mesh of people. Now, I adore all of my affinity groups. I'm a very proud mama bear, right? And each has its own unique charm and personality, which is what makes them so enjoyable to work with. But this group has set the benchmark. They follow our affinity group best practices perfectly, and we wish we could copy and paste not the group, but their approach for all other groups, their format, their structure, their commitment. So this award isn't to downplay any of our other affinity groups. I'm stressing that, right? You are all fantastic in your own right, and I love all of your little quirks, right? But today, the copy and paste scutchie goes to AG 23, and I know Melanie was supposed to be here. I don't think she is, but it's Chris Doors, Leslie Meyer, Melanie Labady, Mike Toney, and Bob Petrie. Melanie, is anyone from the group here? Yeah, I don't think she could make it, but we will give her scutchie. They get one to share amongst the group, and they can fight over who gets to display it or take it to each meeting. So, our copy and paste group. And this year, we decided to recognize a most improved affinity group. Now, this group has always been solid, right? But this year, they've really elevated their game. So they're not copy and paste level yet. But when I start getting calls from people saying, hey, I got to join this affinity group, I'm hearing good stuff about them, I know they're doing something right. So it's fun to see the enthusiasm for the group, and I'm genuinely excited to see how much further they'll go in the coming year. So without further ado, the most improved affinity group goes to AG 20. And I know a lot of them are here. Greg Hammer, Jim Wise, Mike Langendorfer, Steve Heaney, Tom Wanamaker, Rick Strauss, and Rick Wasserman. And again, you can share the one scutchie that you get, but I do think Mike had a custom case made in his office under Spotlight, so he might want to take it. But if anyone's here from the group, do you guys want to come up and grab it? Yeah, that's right. Okay. So 2 more scutchies, and then we'll get on with the panel. So this is one of the highest honors we bestow. It's not just about the length of time. This is the Lifetime Achievement Scutchie. So it's not about the length of time that someone has been with us. It's about the depth of their impact. And this award recognizes someone who has done truly monumental and inspirational work for our center. We're talking about a blend of visionary leadership, consistent dedication, and impactful contributions that have shaped the very fabric of what we do. So the recipient of this award is someone that embodies the spirit of our community, driving us forward not just through financial support, but innovative ideas, unwavering commitment, and a profound ability to inspire and uplift those around her. So her passion for celebrating positive achievements and the good in our community is unmatched. She embodies the spirit wholeheartedly and has been the driving force in creating avenues to honor those in our family business community that are doing good for the sake of doing good. So thanks to her dedication, we've been able to launch and grow our Doing Right Spotlight initiative, shining a light on those who have been making a real difference. So it's my honor to invite this year's Lifetime Achievement Scutchie recipient, Donna Martin. Donna? Yes, okay. So Donna's going to accept the award and say a few words. To say a few words about our Doing Right Spotlight event.
How do you get up there?
Yes.
All right, here we go.
Do you need a?
Don't look, okay? No, seriously, I do need a hand.
There you go.
I'm still shaking. I can't believe it. You know, I've never won a damn thing. So anyway. Hi, I am Donna Martin, and I'm really glad you're here, and I had really no idea. I am here to promote the Doing Right Award, and I hope you know about it. It's been in your email quite a bit. It is an attempt by the center to recognize companies in our area, family-owned companies in any geographic area the center covers, that are doing good for the sake of doing good. And a lot of times we don't hear about that, right? And so this is our effort to shine a light on them. And I'm so very proud of family businesses in our community that you guys do awesome things all the time. And a lot of times nobody knows about them. So we recognized 3 companies last year. This year we will recognize, well, this coming spring we'll recognize 3 more. There's a QR code on your table that has a link to a nomination form. And you might not really think of anybody at the moment, but if you put it in your brain, you'll probably come up with somebody at some point that is doing really great things and probably gets absolutely no recognition. So thank you so much for contributing to our effort by nominating people. I think we have some nominations already. When do they close?
December 8th.
December 8th, so you have time. And please come to the luncheon. It's free next March. And it's free, yeah. And celebrate with us. Family business is awesome business. So thanks very much. All right, now who's going to get me down from here?
Yes, so be sure to scan the QR code and nominate a family business that you know of. The nominations are open until December 8th. We're looking for more. We have a good handful already, but we know that there's a lot of you that are doing really great things, not for the recognition, but we would love to recognize you so that maybe you can be the spark for somebody else to do something great. So now we're concluding our Scutchie Awards with a truly special one, perfectly aligning with our theme today. Preparing for this event, we delved into the histories of our member businesses, and we were amazed to discover how many surpassed the 100-year mark. But one stood out, even a family business that's been thriving for 164 years. Imagine that. Their legacy dates back before the Civil War. And their website even notes they were selling fire insurance at least 2 years before it began. What an incredible journey and a testament to endurance. and adaptability. It's definitely worth a sketchy. To honor this remarkable milestone, we're proud to present the pre-Central Century sketchy to Knight Insurance, our longest running family business. And what a perfect segue into our feature event, the highlight of today's gathering. This is what you're all here for. We've brought together a panel of our esteemed members, each marking a significant milestone in their family businesses. After our own 30th anniversary last year, we noticed that many of you have also been celebrating your landmark years. We realized that every year in business is a milestone worth celebrating, especially for a family business. So we're excited to hear from those who have not only survived, but thrived. Sharing their secrets to success are Megan Coyle of Coyle Funeral Home, Jessica Hirzel of Hirzel Canning and Farms, Joe Shrader of Shrader Tire and Oil, and Tamar Markham of YZ Enterprises, known for their delicious Almondina cookies. And facilitating the discussion will be Mike Hart from Hart. Without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Mike and the panel to kick it off.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. Well, my favorite part was Allison saying, "Oh shit, my dad's not here," or Donna, "I've never won a damn thing." They were both perfect. The Scutchies are awesome. I think we're all going to introduce ourselves, let you know who we are, where we're from. My name is Mike Hart. I'm CEO of Hart Inc. We're a full-service independent ad agency. We've been around since 1965. I'm a second-generation guy. Excuse me. My dad founded the place. Unfortunately, I lost him almost 26 years ago when he was my age, 62, 63 Saturday I'll be, and I was 37. And unfortunately, we lost our matriarch just about a month ago, my mom. So been at it a while, and like I mentioned, second generation. Happy to be here with this fine group. Go ahead, Megan.
My name is Megan Coyle. I'm Generation 5 with our family business, which is Coyle Funeral Home and Cremation Services. We started in 1888. I am the first female funeral director, first female CEO, president, and I'm honored to be here as well. I'll put the fun back in funeral for y'all tonight.
I'm Jessica Hirzel with Hirzel Canning Company. We are celebrating our 100th year this year, and I am fourth generation.
I am Joe Shrader with Shrader Tire and Oil. I am third generation. We are celebrating our 75th year, founded in 1948. We are the company that keeps the trucking and transportation industry moving and safe. At one time, we were the place that you all might have bought your tires. Your grandparents bought your tires and wheels, but today we are all a business to business. We're the guys that are repairing the truck tires and 24/7, going up and down the highway, keeping them moving.
I'm Tamar Markham with YZ Enterprises, Almondina Biscuits. I'm loud without this thing, so if I'm super loud, just tell me. But my fabulous dad, who's here tonight, 84 years young, he started the company 35 years ago, and we are now, celebrating our 35th. I'm second generation.
So what we're going to try and do tonight is we got a few questions for each of these nice panelists that we're going to ask them individually. We've got a few fun ones that we're going to ask them as a group, and then if we have some time at the end, we'll open it up to you all to hit up each of the four of them if you'd like. So appreciate you being here and look forward to this. So Jessica, first you. What do you believe is a core value that has kept your family business thriving for a really long time. Would you say 100 years? Yeah, pretty amazing.
I would have to say resourcefulness. I mean, our company started because of adversity. Our great-grandfather was in the brewing business when Prohibition came along, so he had to completely start over. Came back to Northwood where he had family and planned to have a farm and just live a comfortable country life. And then, times got tough. He had to feed the family and started canning tomatoes. And I think our resourcefulness throughout our 100 years, we faced a lot of changes in our industry. We faced a lot of political, economic changes, as every business has, and that core value of resourcefulness has served us well.
Great, thank you. Tamar, with or without a microphone, how has your family, how has your family business adapted to the changes in the market over I think I heard 35 years. And I did get the chance to sit down with your dad. It was awesome. So I'm glad he's here.
Cool. So for people that are in the food industry, I think you guys can relate that it's very fast-paced, changing constantly. We started out with this little tray of cookies, and when my husband and I started about 15 years ago, we just started going to every single grocery store and seeing where are the trends, where is it heading, what do we need to do to stay ahead of the trend. And we went from that small tray that probably a lot of you guys are familiar with to a stand-up pouch in all different sizes. And in addition to that, we know that we make the best cookies out there. So we started having a lot of people come to us and ask us to do their products for them. So we do a lot of co-packaging now with some phenomenal companies across the country, and it helped us to sustain ourselves when things were extremely hard. So,
thank you. So, Joe, we're all family business people. We've all been through challenges, probably family challenges and business challenges. What is the biggest family or business challenge that your family's had, and how did you overcome it?
So certainly a lot of business challenges, but I thought the best way to answer this question in this group with mostly family businesses, it was succession, and it was succession from the second generation to the third generation. So from my father, who's sitting over here, to myself, and we actually got the next generation here with us tonight as well. But I just want to say that it really comes down to three things, Mike. First of all, a willingness of the current generation to pass it on to the next generation. That's a big ask, and that's a big step that my father and his sisters and my uncles took to make it happen so myself and my brother could move the company forward. So that was addressing the capability of management and leadership, as well as the financial side, the willingness to shift assets from one generation to another. So one, willingness, and second, really to have a plan. And our plan was significant. I want to thank this group. I'm very happy to participate and give back to this group, because this group has given a lot to Shrader Tire and Oil. I can really tell you that. It's been a fabulous resource. But our plan was about a 15-year plan from the time we started gifting stock to really completing the transition. It was not something easy. It was well executed, both on the business side and on the financial side. And then third, we had to execute against it. So, and along the way, there's changes that came up, and we had to work through those sticky spots and those changes to keep it going, because the process could stall, but it didn't. And so we were able to have a very smooth transition from second to third generation, but it wasn't without a lot of work and really a lot of willingness on my father's part and the second generation.
Yeah, Joe, you talk about this group. I remember back, my dad and I used to go to these lunches, and Debbie Scutch gave me a book, Outside Advisors in the Family Business. And it was written by a guy named Leon Danko. I think it's ages old. And I had drinks with my dad. That used to be our old board meeting at the bungalow on Airport Highway. And I gave it to my dad. I said, hey, great book, Dad, you should read it. And with a few expletives, he said, I'm not going to read that damn thing. I wrote it. But we started coming to these, and it's amazing, like Joe said, how it opened the line of communications between so many of us, right? And we've learned so much, and it was a blessing to my dad and I and our family, and I think it has been to so many of us, so I agree with you. So Megan, and this is a commercial for this lovely lady, because I spent a lot of time with her with my mom, and I told her on the phone with the 5 of us the other day, but she was a blessing to me. I'm a huge fan, so thank you. But I got a question for you, too. After I'm done crying, and by the way, where's Esther back there? I could probably use a vodka after that. So how do you measure success in your family business beyond financial performance?
Yeah, I love this question because, of course, financial performance is important for all of us, and we think about our employees and our succession plan to the next generation. But I picked this question because, as my mom said tonight, I feel like raving fans. Creating raving fans with whatever type of business you have is so much more meaningful as well as important as profitability. And I have a good story about a raving fan right here. So we know Mike Hart has a heart for family business, and he's a huge advocate of this University of Toledo Family Business Center. Tom also has a heart for business. He's always thinking about his clients. And as a professional advertising consummate, at his mom's eulogy, he specifically, this is a eulogy with hundreds of people there at a church, calls me out, calls Coyle Funeral Home out on how wonderful you were served. And I can't tell you how much that meant to me. You cannot pay for that kind of advertising. So you have a beautiful eulogy, you had lots of fun stories about your mom, and the thing that I really enjoyed the most was hearing about all your moments of dessert sharing with your mom and all the special requests she had about milkshakes and sundaes, but mostly you like the whipped cream.
That's true.
So to say thank you.
Oh, thank you, jeez. Timing was perfect.
You can put some whipped cream on top of your cocktail right now. So that is just to say thank you for being Mike's Valentine's.
I am a fan.
So that is, I will tell you, raving fans really comes down to sincerity. And I brought this along. I don't know if you guys can see this. It is literally from the 1940s or 50s in the Coyle Family Business Archives. It is from an old-fashioned typewriter. The paper's yellowed, it's ripped, it's taped, but I have it on my desk, and I want to read you a quote that was probably written by my grandfather or even my great-grandfather. And it says, "Sincerity has no price. What one pays for stipulated services is always easy to determine. But there are things which cannot be evaluated, often beyond any terms involving money. Chief among these is sincerity. And more than in any other business arrangement, sincerity must be present in mortuary services. It is our unfailing endeavor to keep it so." So it sort of goes to your family value in just being resourceful. And I just feel like sincerity is it's priceless. So I wanted to share that with you all. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you. I'll do the eulogy at the end, bear with me. So I love this question. I think it's one we all struggle with. And Tamar's going to ask it, but there's, 350 years of family businesses sitting right here, which is amazing. And Tamar's going to answer this for us, but I know we all deal with it. Do you see your company staying private into many generations? Remember, your dad is sitting here.
I actually thought about that.
or you didn't know he was coming, or something along that line. And I'm sure it's one we all deal with.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely tough. For us, our brand, our cookie is Almondina. Dina is my great-grandmother. She started this out of her kitchen in the 30s. And my dad, after being the conductor of the Toledo Symphony and having a whole career in music, created this because he grew up literally eating these in Grandma Dina's kitchen. And we had always heard of them, but we'd never experienced it. Sadly, I never got to meet her. So when my husband and I came into the family business, we came in with that passion, but with also clarity that things aren't always easy. And I'm sure all of you guys can attest to this. COVID was tough. I have people here that have supported me considerably through what we thought might be the end of our company. And so, yeah, you start having those conversations and intense conversations, and you scrutinize your balance sheet and your P&L, and it always comes back to who can truly breathe this brand better than we can. So our goal is to keep it in the family 100% as long as possible. It might not always be a reality. Thankfully, we're seeing a great light at the end of the tunnel. We just hit a huge Costco milestone, and we're launching with a huge co-pack in January. So a lot of things have kind of changed the narrative back to let's keep this in the family. But I'm sure all of you guys can kind of attest to that back and forth, and keeping the passion alive. So,
Thank you. So, Jessica, I've admired your family and your business for years, but I'm sure not everything's perfect, even though it looks like it, right? So can you share a pivotal moment in your business's history that tested the family's resilience?
Sure. I think probably most of you don't know this, but we almost didn't make it out of the second generation. Our founders, Carl and Lena, started the business when their children were young, and their children grew up in it. And so the 4 children that they had were working with them, and both parents died relatively young, within a few years of each other, and the siblings just could not find a way to stay in the business together. So my grandfather ended up having to buy out his siblings during a pretty rough financial time, and he basically had to start over because the people that he had been relying on were no longer part of the business. I think it's really shaped us, the way we deal with each other today. I joke with my brothers, we don't fight. We don't fight because we know what happened. So a lot of times we hold our tongue, but we always find a way to work together to make things successful. And that, is the second worst thing that I think we've ever dealt with is COVID. It was horrible. Everybody in this room lived through it, but it changed so much of how we operated, and we kept going. We were deemed essential workers, and I'm super excited that all of our employees were able to keep their jobs and keep working, but man, was it exhausting.
Yeah, that's very personal. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Hey, Joe, what one piece of advice do you wish you had received before you first started working in the family business?
Well,
Remember, your dad's here. And he's listening
so
intently.
I'm the guy that actually, from the time I was 5 years old, I knew that I wanted to join the company business. I mean, Dad would bring me along on sales calls when I was very young. He would take me to tire factories. I'd go through Akron's plant back in the day when it was like a dark dungeon. Salt tablets at the drinking fountains, very different conditions today. But I grew up in the business, and I knew I always wanted. So everything I did from schooling and everything was to get into business. So I'm going to answer the question at the time that I actually became president, because despite our plan, and Dad's had a great plan, he announced it 5 years before I became president. He announced it to the company that that's what was going to happen. And it was kind of his way to kind of pressure test me and get everybody's reaction. You know, is Joe going to be accepted, or is he just, you know, is he the SOB? Is he the son of the boss? You know, and but anyhow, so despite all that great planning, I was the sales manager at the time, and I was running our retread plant. So I was overseeing manufacturing and sales. And then along came presidency. Well, I didn't get rid of anything at the time that I became president. So now I'm wearing 3 hats, and we're acquiring smaller companies. And you know, as I look back, it was the one big mistake that I made. I needed to get rid of those jobs. It was 5 years before I got rid of my sales management position and became 100% president. So I don't think I did the company justice for 5 years in a very chaotic time of my life, both personally and professionally, trying to wear multiple hats and figure it all out. But so my advice would be, as you're going to take on a huge responsibility like president of a growing company, you got to get rid of something. Something's got to go. And so anyhow, that would be my advice, Mike.
Yeah, great advice. So Megan, how about something that you can share that was a risk that Coyle Funeral Homes took on that paid off?
Yeah, I thought about this question a lot. And I mean, most people don't know much about our industry. And let's face it, who wants to think about it for 5 seconds? But in the early 80s, my dad and a couple of other pretty forward-thinking funeral home owners in Ohio got together with a marketing organization and formed the concept of pre-planning and pre-funding funeral cremation plans. And the old farts, as they were called, which would have been my generation 3 in our business, just thought that was absolutely crazy. Who would want to even think about that? But this was the early to middle 80s, and it really became a consumer-driven phenomenon, meaning families came to funeral homes all over the country and said, why do we have to wait until someone dies to figure out all these details? This is the worst day of our life, and we've got to make 100 decisions, and I can't think clearly, and sometimes people don't have their finances in order for something like this. So he really took a risk in going out into our Toledo community and advertising this on television and creating radio commercials, promoting and educating. We hired a full-time person to be this advocate, this pre-planning counselor. She had to have an insurance license and also a funeral director's license, but her role, and she was an extremely important mentor to me, was to educate families and encourage them to come in to the funeral home, or she'd meet with them in their homes and get this estate planning in order for themselves. And now, fast forward to 2023, and it is a billion-dollar industry in our country, and it's been fascinating for me to watch. I started in this when I was 25, and I was absolutely done with my very important degree in fashion design, and was working for some family-owned funeral homes up in Detroit, and that's how I became interested in learning about helping people with funeral service ahead of time. And it was a huge risk because it was a risk about a reputation. It was a thought that, is this going to work? Are people actually going to want this? Are they thinking that we're just trying to sell them something? And now we find about 80% of the families that when they have a death have already pre-planned and prepaid everything. It definitely helps them. It's a whole different peace of mind, and it helps our business because we're more organized. We can deliver a better service. There's not cash flow issues like there used to be, but it was a huge risk to even propose this idea, and it's definitely paid off. So I'm grateful and thankful that there was the courage and innovation from my dad to do that, despite what his brother and my grandfather and my great uncle thought was the craziest idea in the world.
So Megan knows a story, funny story about my mom. So my mom did have dementia, but she pretty much had her faculties about her. And as I shared, my dad passed away years ago, and she and I struggled last minute to plan his funeral. We're at breakfast one morning. She says to me, remember how hard it was with you and I and Dad? I want you to go over and I want you to call Coyle's and I want you to plan my funeral. And this was August of last year. And she was really doing quite well. I said, "Are you sure?" She said, "Yep." I said, "Okay." So long story short, I said, "I'm going to take Mary, who's my younger sister, because I know you hate my taste, and if I pick out the wrong casket, you'll haunt me the rest of my life." It's God's honest truth. So fast forward, I go meet with Megan. We have this meeting, sit down. I did take my sister because she has much better taste. And 3 weeks later, I sit down at our little breakfast joint. I pull the folder up from Coyle, and I put it on the table. And she says, "Good Lord, what is that?" I said, "Mom, remember the conversation?" I did not say that. I said, "Yes, you did." I said, "Mom, remember I said about Mary?" Next thing you know, I just slid it back under the table and never talked to her about it again. But I was very grateful that I did it, and I'm a big fan. So, Tamar. Sorry, I digress a little bit from time to time. You should ask these two back here. They work for me. Any tradition in the family business that you have maintained since inception?
Yeah, so I have to say, Dina, she's my tradition, even though I never met her. As I said before, she is definitely the backbone of our industry, of our company. If you turn over the package, she's prominent right there. It's something that we have always valued, even in times where almonds jumped $5 a pound, and we use 50 pounds per batch. And we were sitting around going, how the hell are we going to get through this? We didn't waver. We stayed 50 pounds per batch, and we figured out other ways to cut. And it's always in our back of our minds because of that. Even when we grew and we launched other flavors, we launched other lines, Dina's tradition has always been at the forefront. So I'm proud of us for that, because we could have skimped in many ways and we didn't. And luckily we're still here 35 years later. So go Dina.
All right, a few questions I'm going to tee up for everybody, and if we've got time, we'll ask a few of you all. All these experiences we talk about in family businesses, do any of your 4 companies have a policy on hiring the next generation? Do they need to work somewhere else, X number of years working on their own? We'll just go Megan and go down the line.
So I told my kids, who are going to be 20 and 23, my daughter just graduated from college, that they have to go live somewhere other than Toledo, Ohio. They have to go work in a corporation or a large business. Go explore the world. And if your heart finds you back here to Toledo, because I'm telling you, this was the last place I wanted to come back to when I was in high school and college. But I love it for so many reasons, mostly the roots and the connectedness, and a great place to raise a family. But this is what I said to my kids: go explore the world, go get beat up in corporate America, and come back here because you want to. Come back here because your heart's in it.
We adopted a policy, I think, after all of us in Generation 4 were already working with the company. So we're kind of testing it out on Generation 5. It's been in existence probably before they were born, but now we get a chance to try it out. We do encourage that they seek their education and employment elsewhere. We haven't followed it 100% because we're so excited when somebody says they want to come work. Personally, I'm just waiting for somebody to tap me on the shoulder and say, I want your job. So it's kind of a work in progress.
A true family business. Joe?
So, Mike, we don't have a formal policy, but as my father's sitting over here, and what I can say is it can work either way. So myself and my brother John, who's my partner today, he couldn't be here tonight, but we were both destined to go to work for tire manufacturers. So my dad had it all lined up. I was going to work for Goodyear. My brother was going to go to work for Firestone. And then my grandfather stepped in, and he quarreled with my father and said, Jim, you let those boys go, they're not coming back, and who's going to run the business? And my grandfather did win out in that particular case. We both stuck around, and we are both partners today. So that worked out. That being said, the next generation have all worked outside the company, even though it's not policy. They all have worked out outside the company and have come back. So I would prefer it that way, but I think it can work either way.
So we do not have a policy. I don't think in my parents' wildest imagination they thought that I would ever come work at Almondina. I was an investigator at the New York Stock Exchange before this. I have a degree in criminal justice. Had nothing to do with finance or running a business whatsoever. So famous story, I called them up right after the 2009 crash at the stock exchange. Even though my job was heavily secured, I did not foresee staying there for very much longer, and we had just had a child, and we needed to get out of New York City. So we called them up. They were on a cruise in South America, and we said, we're coming. We don't know what the financial landscape's going to be. You obviously can't pay us nearly what we're making now, but we're out. So I think we moved 3 weeks later back to Toledo. With that said, my son wants to be a kicker for the Green Bay Packers. And my daughter is traveling is staying in the music line of our family and is working to become a professional violinist. So I don't see them coming back, but again, I never thought I would, so we'll see.
I've never been to Lambeau. If he exceeds his dreams, can I get tickets,
Yes.
please?
Yeah, you all can. If he makes it, you all can come.
I wanted to add something real quick. When we were having our practice Zoom call, we were just talking about, like, what would be the audience, what would be all of you thinking about for family business questions? And I don't know if I get this question a lot, like, hey, are your kids going to be the next generation coming? And so we wanted to have some questions that was interesting and relevant for all of you. And one thing that I remember my dad telling my brother and sister and I was, you have to come to work at the Coyle Funeral Home for a summer, and you're going to be a garage person. That was our title. We were GPs, which pretty much meant doing all the grunt work. But also he wanted us to just see what it was like day to day for a summer working at the family business. So at least we had a little bit of a glimpse or an understanding of what was involved. And I really appreciated that. It took me a while to come back to Toledo, but that's okay. We just, I guess I'm just curious if you all have that same kind of conversation or experience when you're out and about with your customers or your families or your clients. Like, do they ask you, what's your plan for the next generation?
How many people have a policy that you have to go work somewhere else before you come to the family business? Not many. Nobody? Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. My dad begged me to come, and I had no idea what I was doing. I had no intention of getting in the advertising business. But since then, and we're not that big, but I've kind of encouraged my kids to our son works with us now, but he worked somewhere else for 5 years. And our daughter's been at Abercrombie 7.5 years, and I told her I can't afford her anymore. So, but I did encourage our kids to go find a path somewhere else first, to learn from somebody else, and it's worked out okay for us. So, all right, this is our lightning round. These are quick, and then we'll get some questions from you if you have time. Imagine your business is a dish in a family meal. What dish would it be and why? We'll start with Tamar first.
Oh, God, I didn't think about that one.
We told you these ahead of time, Tamar.
I know. I guess I would have to say chicken soup, because we're Jewish and proud.
Good comeback. Joe?
I'm going to go with meatloaf. Just plain and simple, mashed together, simple.
I have to say lasagna because it has so many layers and textures and they meld together beautifully. And they're covered with tomato sauce.
I love
Yes! The best tomato sauce.
Jessica.
Yeah.
All right, Megan.
Well, we've got to be the final ending. We've got to be to the dessert.
the fork, the best is yet to come, right?
That's right.
All right, we'll start with you, Megan, coming back. If your business journey was a board game, what would it be and why?
Lord, see, we didn't practice these, Mike.
And you're supposed to read the damn email, Megan.
I don't know board games. I like the card game euchre, so I'm going with that.
I'm going to say sorry because even though everybody knows what direction you're going, you never know when somebody's going to kick you back home.
Sorry.
I think Jessica's winning the speed round. All right, Joe, you did pretty good too, though.
Well, Monopoly would be the boring answer, but I'm going to go with Twister because sometimes I just feel like we're all tangled up.
Sometimes I just envisioned your dad playing Twister. It was not good. All right, Tamar.
I was initially going to say Battleship, but my dad's here, so I'm not going to say that one. So I'm going Chutes and Ladders, ups and downs.
Yep.
Love it. Yep. All right, this was a cool question. If you could pick any historical figure to join your company's board of directors, who would it be and what role would they play? All right, we're going to start with Jessica first. We'll start in the middle. Threw you for a loop, didn't I?
So I thought a lot about this, and I'm thinking Rosalind Carter, and I really didn't know a lot about her until she passed, and have read so much. She would show us how we can help the people in our communities with grace.
Yeah, well said. Joe?
Been watching a lot of Westerns lately, so I'm going to go with John Wayne as chairman of the board.
He'd probably throw you all out. He's a tough dude. All right, Tamar.
I think you guys probably know my answer at this point, but Dina. It's got to be Dina.
Amen. All right, Megan, bring it home.
All right, I'm bringing it home. So this would be just totally wild. If we could have Shirley MacLaine on our board of directors. Listen, this lady is legit. She is connecting with people on the other side. But just imagine if every family that came through our door could have a little one-on-one with Shirley MacLaine, and they have all the answers. They know they're loved. They know their loved one is cool, and the world is a great place. Like, she'd be a game changer at Coyle Funeral Home.
Do we have time for a couple questions? We good? Anybody have questions for our four panelists? Esther.
I have one for you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Oh, God.
Hey, you're not prepared.
Touche. I think I'd have Jesus on my board of directors. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not Jewish, I'm Irish Catholic, so I think I'd have the good Lord on. Yep. Well, I'll hear about that one tomorrow. All right. Anybody else? Thanks, Esther. I'll see you at 8 o'clock in my office. She brought me a drink, never mind. Yeah. Anybody else have questions? All right, you guys did an awesome job. Thanks for coming tonight. Thanks, everybody.
I'm taking the back layup, okay? Yeah, just stay up here for a second. Okay, so thank you to our panelists. Thank you to Mike. You all have fantastic businesses. You are great. You are pillars in the community. You do a lot for our community. We very much appreciate it. Appreciate you coming here, sharing your insight, sharing your story. It was wonderful. Here, some chocolates for you. Do you want to pass those down? Thanks, you little bag. So a little thank you for participating. Okay, so a big thank you also to Jim Kenzie back there. He's our technical needs. I feel like I can't do an event without him anymore. So thank you. So we recorded this and we will post it on our YouTube page and send it out. Thank you. He left, but UT photographer Dan Miller came. We'll have some great photos for our social media pages. Peggy, our balloon lady, she always does fun balloons for us. Cake in a Cup did the cupcakes on the tables. And I think thank you to all of you who brought coats for our Care for Coats. It's an initiative that center member Designetics, most of you probably know Sydney Williams. I don't know what her new married name is, but you guys know Sydney. It's an initiative that she's behind. We have like an overflowing box of coats over there. So thank you for donating that. If anyone wants to donate coats, they're collecting, I think, for a couple more days. December 6th. So just call me, Megan, we'll come pick them up if you have any coats. They need bigger sizes, like more adult sizes. So we appreciate that. Last thing. So if you want any photos, there's a lot of families here, couples. Come over here. Like we have our wonderful balloon set up. Megan will take your photo. We have numbers. You can put like how many years you've been in business. So especially if your families are here, come get photos before you leave. And I think that's it. That's a wrap. I hope you all have a wonderful and safe holiday.